Okay, and we've already mentioned scarcity and we've said how important that it is. But what we're going to say is you could be like, okay, but what if you're in a situation where things aren't scarce? And I want you to get into the economic frame of mind, the economic way of thinking. So in economics, we say that everything is scarce, okay? Now, this is obvious in certain parts of the world where, extreme drought very unfortunately forces people to drink this kind of water because there's such a scarcity of fresh drinking water. And you can say, and you could be like, okay, I get it there. There's obviously scarcity there. But in something like Ireland, where certain people are so rich that they can spend like €300 on like certain types of makeup or whatever, there's so much stuff available in shops that they having sales that like so many people go into Dundrum Shopping Centre and all of the shops there are absolutely packed. Like you could be doing very well to see like bare shelves in any shop in Dundrum. So you could be like, oh well, there's no scarcity there. And I'm trying to say to you, no, there absolutely is. So now you've got to change your thinking completely to fit in line with this for two reasons. One, because I'm not 100% accurate this is right, and two, this is what they're looking for in the market scheme anyway. So economic goods are said to be scarce because everyone, doesn't matter what country you're from, across borders, across cultures, you'll find that everybody everywhere, as we're saying, always wants more and better goods and services. Okay? Now, so with that, that's what you want to think. Now, think about this. People have infinite wants but limited income. So if I was to say to you, would you like to have a beach house on the beach in Southern California? And I was to say, it's for free. You'd probably say, yeah. If I said to you, would you like to have a house in the centre of London? You could probably say, yeah. If I said to you, would you like to have a house in New York? Would you like to have a house in San Francisco? Would you like to have a house in Kuala Lumpur? Any place I could say, you could probably just say yes, particularly if it was free. And I'm just saying that that's only infinite wants. That's not even just, we've only talked about houses in different countries. And you might want one in Galway, Donegal, Mayo, anywhere like, Cork, all over the place as well as Dublin. So it'd be like, there's a huge amount. You can see that your wants are growing pretty quickly. Now, what if I was to offer you a car, okay, like an Aston Martin, or a Jaguar, a BMW, Mercedes Benz, and you probably say, yes, I would like them. So your wants, your desires, once you kind of imagine it, can get pretty big pretty quickly. But the problem is that you don't have enough money. You, me, anyone in the world doesn't have enough money. And I include like the richest men in the world, like people like Bill Gates and all that. He could never have bought America. There was a limit to his income. So would you like to have this house? I would love to have this house. Would you like to have this TV? I would love to have this TV. What's the problem with both of those? Well, I'm a teacher, so essentially my income is that. Okay. Our incomes are never, if our incomes are limited, and they are, you don't go to the bank and say, well, how much is in my account? And they say, oh, it's infinite, Mr. Trainer. That doesn't happen. Okay. So our income is never going to be big enough to satisfy all of our wants and desires. Okay, because people have infinite wants but limited income. So therefore, we're onto a disappointment vibe straight away. Okay, but we're trying to be honest now, so what do we do? So when we're talking about scarcity, which is we cannot have everything that we want, there's not enough things that exist in the world. Even if you were to give it away, there's not enough beachfront property in Southern California so that everybody who wants one, which you can only imagine is most of the people in the entire planet, if given the option, there's not enough to build those houses there. Okay, so even if you were to give it away for free in some, or the government said we're going to give it away for free in some act of altruism, it's impossible. Okay, so even we don't have enough money to buy what we want. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to make a choice. We rank now. The first thing we making a choice. What that is actually means giving up something so you can do something else. Okay, so if you're, I don't know, if you wanted, well, we'll talk about this in a second, but like a Mars bar or a Snickers bar, you can't have both. So you go, okay, I'll have a Mars bar for argument's sake. Well, you said, okay, well, you've given up the Snickers bar. Okay, you've had to give something up in order to have it. I cannot have an apartment in Dublin and, let's say, an apartment that I could potentially afford in San Francisco, but I can't afford both. So I have to give up something in order to choose something. Well, obviously I live in Dublin, so I've made that decision. So limited resources means that our incomes are scarce. and choices must be made. Now, the next thing then becomes is, okay, well, how do we make choices? Well, pretty simple. You just go, I want that one. But, rationally, this is what we're assuming rational people do in economics. We rank our desires. We say, I need this first. I do need a place to live first. So that's the first thing. So I have to make sure I have enough money to pay my rent. I don't absolutely need a car, but I like one and my income is big enough to satisfy that desire. But it's important to me, so I'm definitely going to pay that. Obviously, I need food and stuff like that, so I'm just ranking all my desires. I make sure to buy, and you should do this too, make sure to buy the most important things first, the second most important thing second, and so on and so on. Now, in economics, we continue until all our money is spent. This is just a convention. All we're saying essentially is that you allocate all of your money to something. And intelligent students would be like, no, but you save some of your money as well. And then the simple caveat or convention that we use in economics is that you spend your money on savings. Okay, so I do save as much as I can every month, and in economic terms, in economic parlance, I'm spending my money on savings. So all it means is you're allocating your money to different things. Now, what we're going to talk about here is this idea of opportunity cost. So we're going to talk about chocolate, and what we have is we're going to just talk about two different bars. We've already given this example, but I'll say it now. Okay, we've got a Mars and a Morrow. Okay, now my favourite bar of all time is a Morrow bar. So I'm 100% going to choose that Morrow bar. If I'm given the option, I can't have both. I'm not allowed. Okay, I'm just going to choose one. I'm going to choose the Morrow bar. Now, what have I given up? Well, I have given up the Mars bar. I have given up something in order to get what I want. Now, why did I choose the Morrow? Because I prefer it more. It's going to make me happier. That's me being rational and intelligent. I'm going to choose the thing that gives me the most happiness. So I've chosen the Morrow bar, but what has happened? Would I like to have both? Yeah, probably. I like Mars, it's just not as much as Morrow. But I can't. So therefore, I've had to give up something in order to get something else. Okay? So what that is the opportunity cost. Now, opportunity cost, the definition of it, and this comes up quite a bit, so remember it. Opportunity cost is the cost of foregone alternatives involved in making a choice. What we're saying is it's what you didn't choose. Now, I do realise that that's no thank you. He's not saying no thank you. But anytime you can put Bill Murray into an economics presentation, you're essentially winning. Now, so in the last example, I chose the Morrow. I didn't choose the Mars bar. So therefore, the Mars bar was the opportunity cost. It's what I had to give up. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the next thing that I hope once you kind of realize about scarcity, that once you realize that there's infinite wants, but you're never going to earn infinity no matter how rich you are, okay, then there's scarcity. Once you have infinite wants and limited income, there has to be scarcity. And then scarcity means you're going to have to make a choice. And when you make a choice, you have to give up something in order to get something else. So there's an opportunity cost to every decision, no matter how rich you are. Now, there are less opportunity costs to rich people than to poor, because they have to give up less rich people. But still, there are opportunity costs to every decision. Would you like to go to the cinema tonight? And, you could say yes. Well, what film do you want to see? Because we can't see both. And even if you stayed in the cinema all day, there's still things you're going to miss out on some films, or you can't see two films at the same time unless it's a mental cinema. But still, that's what we're saying. There's an opportunity cost to every decision. Now, you could be like, why do I care? And this is what we're talking about. The opportunity, the concept of scarcity. The concept of having to choose or choice. The concept of opportunity cost. All of these three are central. They're absolutely everything to the study of economics. Okay, I know it does all stem from scarcity, but still, the three of them are bundled together. Well, why? Because economics studies the allocation of scarce resources. We cannot, the government only has limited money to satisfy our desires. Well, do you think we should have better healthcare? Yes, I do. Do you think you should have more Gardaí? Yes, I do. Do you think we should pay teachers more? Absolutely. But still, we can't do all three. And then there's countless other things that the government is doing because their income from our taxation is limited. So even them on a vast scale with huge millions and millions, billions of euro, there's still an opportunity cost. What do we do? Do we put this money into education? Well, of course we do. We have to pay the teachers more. Or do we put it into something else that's important? Okay? Well, if we do that, Okay, these resources, the money that they're using to pay either teachers or more doctors, there's a limited amount of them. They're scarce and they have alternative uses. So if you're paying the teachers more, you can't pay the doctors more. Okay, or you can't, if you're hiring more teachers, you can't hire more doctors. You can't, or if you're doing both, you can't hire, double the amount. Do you know, now obviously it's split between different groups, but still there's an opportunity cost of every decision. There's only so much stuff we can afford. The allocation of these resources involves making a choice then. Well, oh my God, which do we do? Do we hire more teachers or more doctors? Okay, and with this choice we incur a cost, and that cost is an opportunity cost, is what we give up. If we hire more teachers, then we give up hiring more doctors. If we hire more doctors, then we give up hiring more teachers. If we go half and half, then we give up the other half of each of them. If we only hire 50 doctors and 50 teachers instead of 100 doctors or 100 teachers, well, then we're giving up the 50-50 extra. So there's an opportunity cost to every decision.